Greetings and salutations. I guess might notice a few changes around here. They're very minor and significant, but I wanted to at least talk about that. I can't remember if I've actually talked about the secret origin of Fanboy Crossing, so I guess let's make that part of the permanent record. So in 2004, I was part of a role-playing game, Mage the Ascension, not Magic the Gathering, Mage the Ascension. It was on the second edition of the World of Darkness line. I was in my mid-20s. I still very much a geek back then. I've been a geek all my life, and I made a character. Essentially wanted to be kind of a proxy to who I am. But, do stuff, and it was kind of cool. His name was Gerald Connolly. He was part of the Akashic Brotherhood, which is basically the warrior monks of the Mage universe. So I'm not really good at doing overt magic-y stuff. He had spheres and healing, so he could basically heal thyself. And part of the character was that he was a fanboy. Okay, so fanboy didn't exist, realistically speaking, back then, but he was a comic book guy, had a basement, and he became a vigilante when he wasn't with the other party full of murder hobos. I was drawing a lot back then. Something I don't really do that much now. Not necessarily for reasons, but kind of time, life, reality, kind of they do it. But so I was drawing what I imagined his basement room looked like, and I drew a poster on the wall. I'll see if I can find a photo. I've lost a lot of my photos due to a hard drive crash. Fun. 2020. Fucker of a year. So I drew this diamond, kind of like the classic, children crossing type sign. It was kind of a little meme thing back then, I thought, that'd be fun to do a comic book version. I call it Fanboy Crossing, but on the original drawing, I drew essentially Spock. I drew a Trekkie character. It was TOS Spock. And it's on a weird angle because I drew it on like a door and a perspective thing. So but the image struck a chord with me. So I redrew it more flat, more as a thing, and I drew two of them. I drew Fanboy Crossing and Trekkie Crossing. So Trekkie Crossing was the Spock character I drew, and the Fanboy Crossing one I made it more like a generic superhero. It was Superman. Let's be brutally honest, it was Superman. I replicated that in Photoshop, and I wanted to make a T-shirt of it. So I got some inkjet transfer paper and printed out and wore it as a T-shirt. Round about that time is when I was studying TAFE. So part of the assignment was I needed to edit a film. It's just basically think of just re-editing existing footage. But I had in mind that I wanted to become a movie maker. I had been inspired by the likes of, say, like Kevin Smith and all that. Nerd made good. So I wrote / storyboarded a short film. I got my friend Wade to play the stupid guy, and ended up casting my brother as the straight guy, mostly because he had the video camera, and so he shot it at his place, and that became my first short film, Computing Conundrums, which I don't think is online because the song I used was Banana Phone by Raffi, and that got copyright strike, so I could never find a sufficiently good replacement bit of music, especially because I cut to the music, more or less. Anyway, I kind of had it in mind that this would be my logo and name for a production hub. I was proud to be a fanboy. This was 16 years ago. At least fanboyism wasn't that necessarily a well-known tag. Kevin Smith had been using it for a character, the obsessive comic book guy in, I think, Mallrats was the first. But the other one, at that time, the only other mention of fanboy is a Sergio Aragonés comic book where the titular fanboy was the main character, and not necessarily a bad person, but it was a commonly known phrase for people who are heavily into comic books, which I really was at that time. little did I know a few years later that I would pretty much abandon comic books altogether, mostly due to some really bad story events, and either way. So going into uni, I still end up using Fanboy Crossing as my production logo for all my media projects, my animations, my short films, which are up on YouTube, Pirate vs. Ninja and The Game. I still have one copy of my Pirate vs. Ninja DVD, and as you can see, it's on the back quite predominantly. I never made one of these for the game. I really should get around to doing that. I was hoping to do some extra features for the game, like an audio commentary and that, but that never happened. So, cut to more recent times. I've been trying to give this YouTube thing a go several times on and off. I've tried podcasting and that, doing vlogs here and there. But over the last few years, the term fanboy in and of itself has kind of become more and more of a derogatory thing. A lot of what was good and positive about fandom, especially comic book fandom, has in recent times taken a bit of a turn for the worst. We've had things like Gamergate happen, and then just recently we've had Comicgate, which is, again, a lot more directly affects comic books, where the term is a bit more predominant, like gamers is game related, and gamers tend to have their own tag. I don't consider myself a gamer. I mean, I've been playing video games since I was at least 4 or 5 years old. I don't associate with that particular subculture. Even though I play games all the time, I still play games. I love playing games. I do not associate that, because I do think a lot of people who identify as gamers are fairly toxic. And that's kind of where I've gotten to with Fanboy. A mark I used to proudly associate myself with is now something I don't feel it anymore. I'll be blunt, I just don't feel it anymore. And it kind of came to a head just recently. I've been making, by the time you've seen this, I've been doing Kung Pao Enter the Minutes for about 27, 28 weeks. I've only missed one update due to some creative ennui. I was a bit drained. I was exhausted. It's been a very busy last few months. I just didn't have the energy to write, record, and edit a minute. But at the same time, I've also been producing the Robocop Minute by Minute podcast with my friend Connor, called 60 Seconds to Comply, which hasn't skipped an update. By the time this rolls out, we've been doing that for 3 months, and maybe up to like episode 17 or something like that. And it was more particularly with talking about in the end of Robocop, where every episode I have to say, come find me at Fanboy Crossing. And the more I was saying it out loud, the more I was just there going, I don't want to be Fanboy Crossing anymore. I think it was by about episode 9 of Robocop, I turned around to Conan like, I want to change my branding. I have no heart. I'm not sure having associated with a thing called Fanboy is going to do any good, but also I just don't associate it with it anymore. So for like the last at least month and a half, in the back of my brain I've been trying to think of what to do. I've been Fanboy Crossing for so long, I just don't know what else to do, and not necessarily want to go through a complete new rebrand. I don't want to spend the time, energy, and mental effort even just trying to come up with a new logo or come up with a new name or anything like that. It's because I still love fandom. I still think fandom can be a positive thing. I still think there is good that can come of something like a fandom. It has some positive, it has some negative things. It definitely has some negative things, but it has some positive things. There is something positive about the community of fandoms. A lot of negativity sometimes just stems from that sense of fucking tribalism, where people just go, I love Star Wars and nothing else is any good, or I like anime and nothing else is any good, and here I am, I love Star Wars, I love Star Trek, I love a lot of things, I'm a comic book guy, I love DC and Marvel. A lot of these things people will tell you that you are completely incompatible. You can only love one or the other, or you can only love one and nothing else, and they are fucking morons. Now that I've just pissed off a whole bunch of people, don't worry, no one's watching it. I've got like less than 50 subscribers on this channel. I've been pushing this for a long time. Audience growth is not going, even if I've had something that's gone viral. So like, share, subscribe. It's been a tough year. It's been a tough year all around, but my tough year started about 18 months ago. Not gonna lie. No, well, my tough year probably started about 2015. That's the other reason why my mental health is kind of fucked. I keep wanting to bring up I wasn't going to talk about this. I really wasn't. I was just going to keep it simple, but I'll keep going back here if I want to be honest. I had a friend who... It feels disingenuous to say ruin my friendship, but my friend was just being themselves way too much. And they constantly kept telling me, if I'm being annoying, if I'm being this, if I'm being that, please tell me so I can change. And I kept telling them, you're being annoying. Please don't do this. It makes me uncomfortable. Please don't call me every single fucking day just to whinge at me. Please don't do this. And I realized at one point, this wasn't a good relationship. I tried to speak to them about it. Again, nothing happened. And I just put up and shut up. I thought, I'm just doing my friend a favour. I'm letting him vent. Then something happened where, I'm not going to get into details. A lot of it feels a little bit murky. But I'm still unemployed. I was unemployed at the time and lost the job opportunity over it. And I cut that person out of my life because, and let's not be blunt here. It was just not one thing. Goes like, I just randomly don't know. He was pretty much responsible for me losing a job opportunity, and I was so angry. I'm still pretty angry. Not as much. I'm still pretty angry at a person I thought I could trust who... It wasn't just the job. It wasn't just the job opportunity. It was the job opportunity on top of constantly being called and just whinged at. It was the job opportunity of constantly being asked for advice and giving them my advice, which they never took. And they would then come back at me and complain when the advice they never took didn't happen. And then it'd be more complaining. Future Simon jumping in here, and just want to clarify that when I say advice, I'm not meaning like lifestyle advice or relationship advice. I'm more talking about cosplay prop building advice. This person would often get me to build things for him, mostly because he was wanting me to show, in heavy quotation marks, how to build these things. And when he would inevitably not do what I told him to, I would just do it for him. However, I will freely admit I have been commissioned by him at one point. However, I then later found out that he had been telling people that he built the prop in question, or a mutual friend who I do believe did some repairs to the item. However, he seems to take the credit for my hard work, and finding that out was really painful as well, and pretty much when I lost absolutely even the tiniest shred of respect I might have had for that person was obliterated at that moment. So back to the vlog. Or the one time where I had a job interview, and I told this person I had a job interview and I'm going to be at this job at this time. So they kept calling me at that time during the job interview 6 times. I called them after I got out of the job interview. She's like, why are you calling me during your job interview? Oh, I just wanted to wish you well. Could have SMS'd me that. Could have called me up, I don't know, an hour after the job interview time. I didn't get the job, by the way. Technically, that's 2 jobs he technically robbed me. I didn't think I was going to get a job anyway, but you never know. I got put forward by a friend. Seems to be a running pattern. I didn't mean to go this far. I was not going to talk about this, but honestly, this is building up. Oh, this friend, basically spent 5 years talking shit about me to other people. I'm venting. Yeah. People who I've never met don't like me. And I know they don't like because when they finally met me, they were very standoffish. One of them I thought was going to be my friend. And they were for a time. And as soon as my friendship was essentially no longer useful to them, yeah, never heard of me, and they started talking shit about me. God, I love this community. I'm not sure how much this is going to make it in now. I don't want to talk about it, but fuck me, I want to vent. Because if there's any year where we should be venting about the shit about this world, it's probably 2020. Again, though, my 2020 started in 2015. Some good things happened in 2015. It doesn't feel like it truly counterbalanced the horrific things that happened to me in 2015. I don't want to be... I'm not one of those new year, new start kind of people because time is arbitrary. 2020 technically started November, December last year. It didn't really truly hit until January, March, February. I want next year to be better. I don't think it's going to be. I've spent so many years trying to be an optimist. I've been proven wrong plenty of times on that. But I'm going to try and stay productive. I want to finish off both Kung Pao Into the Minute. Definitely want to finish off RoboCop 60 Seconds to Comply. I keep calling RoboCop, it's called 60 Seconds to Comply. I want to finish off this costume this year. It was supposed to be finished by now, but 2020. But ultimately, there's things I want to do. And I want to be creative. I want to stop dwelling on the shit of the past. I want to stop dwelling on these negative aspects. It's hard. I'm trying to get there. And I think that's ultimately one of those steps that I need to take. I need to feel comfortable, even if it's just this one tiny step. I need to feel comfortable being able to say a word. Even just, it's the word that I associate with myself. Even if nothing else happens, even if I don't get a single subscriber in the next 12 months, at least I can feel comfortable myself saying this channel name, my page name, my anything name. So with that, welcome to Fandom Crossing.